Greetings and welcome to the Aftershow for episode 5 of our Cyberrats demo play mini-series, Corpo-Rat Shills. We just finished up the second of 3 main story missions, our assault on the Valdivian Research and Development Facility, which I had a lot of fun shoving into the caldera of a volcano, so I hope that was exciting. We are unfortunately down one fantastic JD. He had to go and do a session 0 for another amazing game, so go tune in, go check out JD, not Jason Dean, over on Twitter to figure out whatever he's doing right now, and whatever he has coming up. But for now, we have the rest of our awesome Cyberrats cast to talk about what the hell just happened. So, let me throw it to you guys. The hell just happened?
Awesomeness, a lot of nail biting. Hank went down, so that was a thing.
Uh-huh.
I a part of me was like, you should use the med pack, but the character was like, that's Hayden's med pack. Obviously not.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is why we did not. um, yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. It is nerve-wracking every time
Mm-hmm.
because like you never know when the tables are going to turn. Uh, and also, I gotta say that your choice of adversary from from the first time when you got it has just been so rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
uh,
And once again slipped through your guys' fingers. You did not choose to go after Leone Cervantes, and he will live another day to hamper you once more.
Didn't this building fall into a volcano? Is he not dead?
We'll see.
mm,
Might I'm sure suspended over a volcano. There's got to be some sort of evacuation procedures. You would think.
I'm sure probably.
I mean, excellent job taking out pretty much all the enemies I threw at you. You guys skirted past one rat swarm out of 12, destroying the other 11, and then there were the 2 other bio-enhanced soldiers that you managed to keep out of pace of. Other than that, you took out all the enemies I had at you. Well, you didn't go to the isolated testing floor, and there were obviously more enemies there, but you just bypassed that whole area.
Right.
Yeah, you guys tore through this facility. And again, another session of overwhelming successes. We got a few partial successes, but once again, I don't think we got a single failure
No.
on this mission.
The extra dice help with that so much.
Yeah, yeah.
They do. They do, but also, honestly, even the partial successes can still be rough.
They add up.
Like, yeah, they do. Because like Ash was getting them left and right,
and they chip away at your resources.
I think the Ash was fine though. Ash, the final count was Ash had 3 barrier and 7 health left. Like,
great.
Yeah.
I think she actually only took harm once.
Yeah.
Like it was either small amounts that got absorbed by shard and berry and soak, or like just straight damage to
just losing HP.
Yeah.
And with all the enemies killed, you guys were getting sustained drops, and a lot of HP and biotech actually came up, so you were replenishing a lot of those resources that
in the beginning, yeah, the biotech just kind of stopped at one point.
Yeah,
like we got the one biotech, and then after that, it was just like HP and gear parts.
Yeah.
Which, while we love a gear part,
we're gonna build so many new buildings next week.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we build buildings?
Well,
gear parts?
that's gear parts, not construction pieces. So you can upgrade your weapons next week. But
yay!
Yeah.
I haven't. Although I am realizing after building sort of both characters this way, making a lot of incremental damage attacks is not the meta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The meta is shoot a big
A lot of
F-off
incremental
laser
damage is really good for chipping away shards.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like there's a lightning strike power where you can hit someone 4 times for 1 damage each.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really good at chipping away shards
Yeah.
if they don't have soak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, once again, this session has proved how important and how vital movement is.
Mm-hmm.
Because not having access to my like on 3V or like I have several powers that allow me to move, and I just had to run through them so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to get that Leone guy, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
If I see him, it's on sight.
Yep.
I took oomph on a whim,
Mhm.
like as a purely like, oh, maybe this will be useful. It was so useful because I could make 4 attacks per turn.
Mm-hmm.
And I as long as there's enemies, I never have to move again.
Yeah, I might look into that for Hank because
Yeah.
movement's important for him because he's up close. He doesn't have a ranged weapon. It is just I cast sword.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
The
putting
bleed
momentum
is
on
so
that
helpful.
sword is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do because I gotta be able to move, and if I don't have access to my powers, I gotta have some other way to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're gonna look into for sure, and also buying up my biotech.
Yep. Yep.
Raider Joe has 11 biotech, and it's
So much biotech.
you need, especially with that Cervantes bastard.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean you're not wrong, but like, ugh.
Yeah, you got to eat a lot of biotech.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys were tearing through this. I was actually a little worried with how many enemies I had planned for this, but and I do think that we actually did get pretty close because Aaron, I believe you said it before we hit the record button. There's a real fine line between it going real well and going real bad, and that line is called shard.
Yes.
Once that's
Correct.
gone,
Yeah.
Yeah. Once the shard is gone, everybody,
yep.
pucker your butts.
Because you guys are dishing out 8, 16, 32 damage with your attacks.
Mhm.
That's going to eat through all of these enemies if they don't have shard or some really impressive barrier at the very least. And on the player side, you guys, enemies are doing quite a lot of damage and a lot of recoil damage and a lot of paint and whatnot. If you do get hit, it hits hard, but you guys have so much shard built up at this point that hard to take you guys down.
I had a I know why we cut it off early, but I think it's so funny that I have a mag bomb.
Yeah.
In that I got like the second session. And so I was like, cool, this was gonna end. I know that it's gonna end with a bunch of turrets, which presumably have the robot tag.
Yep.
That I can like magnet in, and then we can shoot a whole bunch.
Yeah.
That did not pan out.
Yeah. I mean, in the cinematic of that, and we can retcon that next week. We can say that's exactly what happened. We just had to cut it for time, really, and you guys were doing so well. Yeah.
So I just realized a thing. I really hope that the secondary mission goes well.
Otherwise,
yeah.
We won't let yours. We won't injure yours.
Pack-Rat's already injured.
Yeah.
Right. So
if after we resolve the secondary mission, and if like Pack-Rat doesn't get healed,
we can toss him in the clinic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could we is that a possibility, or is it like
we can afford the clinic's only like
both characters
4,
are injured?
I think it costs 4 right now.
Yeah.
The clinic at this point costs 5.
5.
Yeah.
Cost
That's
5.
fine. That's fine. Jack's handing out script on the primary like it's nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, because I would have to put one of them in there if it doesn't go well, because otherwise one of my characters dies.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So that is actually a good comment that you made there, Alex, because I'm giving you guys, because I truncated this campaign so much for the actual play. I'm handing out a lot more script, and you guys are also going on fewer missions in between these main story missions. So you're getting almost the same amount of script, but fewer instances where you have to worry about getting injured. So normally you would have to play out 3-4 missions between each story mission, which means 3 or 4 times, times 2 because primary and secondary mission, for you guys to get injuries and thus have to spend money on the clinic or lose characters through failing secondary missions. So unfortunately, because I've had to truncate this, it's not necessarily the truest demonstration of a full Cyberrats campaign. But I think it's playing out real fun.
I mean, I'm having a great time, but
Mm-hmm.
also like I'm nervous.
Yeah,
We're
the stress
nervous.
level is still there, which
Yeah,
is
I mean, the fact that we can see, like, with our rolls how well we're doing,
Yeah, right.
like, and it's like as soon as the rolls start going bad, we're so screwed.
Yeah.
I did a thing where I shot like 4 times in a turn with like rolling 1 die, and it got like 3 6s and a 4.
4, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
we I don't think we've had a 1 or a 2 roll since Hayden's making friends with a horse. Yeah.
since the horse unfortunate situation.
Yeah, that seems right.
And we're at episode 5 now. We've had 4 missions of nothing but successful rolls, including resolving the secondary mission.
Right.
So
thankful.
but between extra dice and really you guys are rolling so many dice with your dedicated skills, it's hard to take any of those smaller numbers. So we'll see. See. Yeah, so the goal is never actually to kill you guys, but to keep that tension level there. So I think this mission actually was a great success as far as that. And I
it was
really
definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I really beefed this up because I put a lot of enemies there, and to be completely fair, Lyra was just a second custodian because I knew 1 was not going to be enough.
That's fair. Like honestly, the tension and the need to like keep going, like the keep pushing forward was definitely that that tension that we needed for the game for the
Yeah.
session. Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you guys some more specifics about the mission itself. Man, I am so bad with time today. Yeah, was there a particularly awesome part of this mission, and or was there a part that just we could have done without?
I mean, not from your point of view, but like JD, actually, it is from your point of view. Like you setting up and then allowing us to use the like psychic radar, and like having JD give the help dice, and then you like that felt really good.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
like like there were so many uses of that. Like yeah, that honestly, like I kept looking at the active power and being like, well, that's not that great. Like, it seems like a pretty big downside, but it's like I might have to switch up my active powers for Esme.
That's fair.
Yeah, that power is very much like what Nibbles used to nuke. You will take a lot more damage, but your target is going to take a lot of damage too.
Yeah. Well, and come to think of it, I almost wonder if the 16 damage would have been enough and I didn't need to do that. But so it goes.
I mean,
you make sure.
Yeah. Nibbles doesn't like second guessing.
mhm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. It was, in general, I think that, and this is just like a GM thing, but in general, your layouts, your maps are a lot more spread out than mine.
Mhm.
I tend to have things very condensed, but it didn't feel like it felt good. Like, and even the way this one is written, like, you know, it says you have to, you know, navigate to the place and get there. But it was never like, oh, we don't know where to go, we don't know how to do this. Like, it felt like we had a very clear mission.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah, and you could keep it on the rails with JD going, especially because he was on it. He was like, "What do I see?" And I was like, "Yes, sir," every time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think my favorite part, not just because I got to be badass with it, but the rat swarms
Yep.
coming up like
I
a
was
wave of
saying
rats.
that.
Who, buddy? Like, especially because they all had the glowing purple eyes. I was like, "Oh, that's terrifying."
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
When you had the 9 painted stacks on you and they were just like, we're like back to the elevator and there's just waves of rats, like that was a 10 out of 10 horror movie moment.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was like The Shining, but with rats.
Yep.
And again, I wanna call out JD because they were able to be the hero and be like, hey, I'm gonna give you a line of sight on the far one, which like enabled me to do the blast. And that extra die is like the only reason I didn't also die.
Yeah. Also, the painted tags, they pile up, but it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got like, I think technically I should have gotten more that one time, like with those first, because
Yeah,
it
you
was
might have. Yeah.
yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of paint.
I like that it was early, that like those enemies were super early in the thing, because it was very much like it ramps up the danger of like, oh, this is going to be a hard one, but then when you actually get shot for the first time, it's like, oh, 16 damage, it hits my shard.
Yep.
Yeah, no, there's that. Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, we're still here. We're still here. But then you're like slowly watching it tick down. You're like, oh no.
Yep. Those early enemies are there just to chip away at your defenses, get rid of the shard, get rid of as much barrier as I can. It doesn't matter if I do 1 damage or 16 damage if it just hits the shard.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't do it often, but I'm gonna pat myself on the back for some nice enemy layout there, because it did exactly what I intended.
It was great.
Yeah, they were fantastic. The way you like paced this out. I know you're always worried about time, sure, but like the pacing of the game itself has never felt like wrong or out of place.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
great every time. So,
and I'll say again, if I was working with the normal 4 hours I have instead of the 3.5 or 3 that I've allotted here, we'd be perfect.
Yeah.
But I can't get my brain out of the 4-hour pacing mark.
That's fair.
Sorry,
That's
Alex.
Fair. I know. I was just going to say that we are effectively superheroes right now with all the script you've given us, and like it is still like, you know, we're not just coming through and sweeping everything. Like it is still a challenge and a scary experience.
Like I said, and like I tell other GMs, it is a lot easier to make the game more difficult than it is to make it easier necessarily. You can always have more enemies pile in from out of nowhere like they do on Matrix Reloaded through the doorways. But once you have all those enemies in there, it's hard to justify taking things out. So throwing enemies out incrementally in waves is a really cool thing to do. And I'd really like ladening you guys down with scripts so you can buy powers and cool guns, because I want to see you guys do awesome, incredible things. And then judging by how awesome and incredible you are, I can ratchet up my enemies so that they can keep knocking you back down. So it's fun. It's fun. That is a big part of my GMing style. The yes and you want to do something cool. I want to see something cool. Let's make it happen.
Yes,
I
sir.
very rarely say no. You can't do something unless it would derail a big portion of what I was planning, which is why the computer system wasn't connected to the main elevator, because that basically would have negated the entire floor.
Right.
Fantastic.
But yeah, we are running out of time for our after show here. I might write something up because I have thoughts. But this was an incredibly successful mission, and we'll see next week how the secondary goes. We have just a couple more missions left, hopefully building up even more advantages if you guys keep succeeding on missions as you've been doing. And then we got the mothership. Let's end with projecting that forward. This was the second of 3 main story missions, and this is how it played out. What are you guys feeling for the mothership?
I'm feeling big damn hero, sir.
Yeah.
I wrote that mission, and I don't know how by the book you'll run it, but I am really looking forward to. It plays a little differently than most missions, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just trying to decide who I want to. But we'll see how
Yeah.
see how the
We'll see
secondary
if you get a
mission
choice.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see how things go, my boy.
And I will say, because I said this to Alex earlier, Valdivian is probably the easiest of all the enemy factions. Military is hard mostly because they're just stronger for when you have to hit that first main story mission. But they ramp up quite well. The interlopers, though, when we get to the mothership, I got some fun toys to play with.
Oh
Some
dear.
fun toys.
Oh no.
Yeah. The interlopers are very much the spotlight. They're who you're assumed to be fighting most of the time. They have a lot of variety. The Valdivian aren't super threatening, like they're office workers mostly. And the military are very scary, but they are intended to always be, except for the story mission, to always be an optional threat.
Right.
Do we want to engage with this scary thing for the big reward and payoff?
Right. High risk, high reward. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And they don't have a victory meter. You can't fail by ignoring them.
Right.
And I think we've done a pretty good job of hitting all 3 of these factions fairly equally. Of course, we see fewer missions than a normal gameplay, just because we're truncating things.
Right.
I will also say, I have Vacutron written up. My stats for Vacutron, if we ever fill that mayhem meter up again.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think I was going
I
to point
hope it's
something
on
else
a
out.
mission where we have all of the swarms.
Yep.
Yeah, because that'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's going to be it. I'll let you guys get on with your evening. Thank you so much, audience and supporters, for supporting RPGs Uncovered. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're enjoying these little extras in the after show. Yeah, join us on Discord and on Twitter if you have any questions you would like to ask these fine folks. And we are in the home stretch of our demo play and the main campaign loop of Cyberrats, so stay tuned for even more. Thank you for hanging out. We're gonna take off. Happy heart tomatoes. We'll see you next week.
Bye.